Every Call of Duty villain explained in detail. Think you know them all? Stick around till the end because you probably don't. Vladimir Makarov. Makarov is the reason Call of Duty stopped being about winning and started being about consequences. He is the main villain of the original Modern Warfare trilogy and one of the most feared characters in the entire franchise. Makarov does not fight on the front lines, he plans attacks that force nations to turn on each other. His goal is not power or land, his goal is damage that cannot be undone. Every major war in the trilogy can be traced back to something he set in motion. What makes Makarov different is how calm he is. He does not yell or threaten, he waits. He lets others react, then uses that reaction to make things worse. Even when he disappears, the fallout keeps spreading. He understands that fear lasts longer than bullets. Outside the story, Makarov's reboot appearance stood out because he was recast with a new voice actor, shifting him from a cold, quiet planner to a more aggressive and expressive presence. The change sparked debate in the community, with longtime fans missing the original performance, while others felt the new voice fit the reboot's darker tone, and even the actor acknowledged how iconic the original portrayal had become. Makarov does not need to win the war, he just needs to make sure nobody else does either. Raul Menendez. Raul Menendez is the villain who makes players uncomfortable for a reason. He is the main antagonist of Black Ops 2 and one of the most complex characters in Call of Duty history. Menendez is driven by personal loss after his sister is killed during a CIA operation. Instead of acting alone, he builds Cordis Die, a global movement powered by anger, media, and technology. He turns public opinion into a weapon. Menendez does not hide what he believes. He openly attacks the United States and its influence around the world. What makes him dangerous is that some of his points make sense. The game never fully paints him as wrong. It forces the player to question where justice ends and revenge begins. Depending on player choices, Menendez can die or succeed, which makes him feel unpredictable. Raul Menendez was created to blur the line between villain and revolutionary. The developers wanted players to understand him, not just stop him. That is why he is calm, confident, and persuasive instead of loud and angry. Menendez does not want control. He wants the world to admit he was right. Imran Zakhaev. Imran Zakhaev is the root of the Modern Warfare universe. He is the leader of the ultranationalist movement and the man who sets everything in motion. Zakhaev funds terror groups, supplies weapons, and pushes conflicts until war becomes unavoidable. Even after his death, his ideas live on through others like Makarov. Zakhaev believes the West must be weakened through constant pressure. He does not rush, he plans for the long term. When Captain Price famously blew off Imran Zakhaev's arm in Pripyat, it was actually a young Vladimir Makarov and Yuri who dragged him from the wreckage and saved his life. Beyond just creating a villain, this moment cemented the line of succession for the most dangerous terrorist cell in history. Zakhaev did not need to win today. He just needed the fight to never end. General Shepard. General Shepard is the villain who wears the right uniform. In Modern Warfare 2, Shepard presents himself as a patriotic leader who wants justice for fallen soldiers. In reality, he uses Task Force 141 to start a global war so he can control the outcome. His most infamous act is killing Ghost and Roach to protect his story. Shepard believes history forgives winners. He thinks if the war ends on his terms, nobody will care how it started. His actions are not emotional. They are planned. That makes his betrayal hit harder because it comes from someone trusted. During development, Shepard's twist was kept secret from most of the team. The goal was shock. The writers wanted players to realize that the enemy is not always on the other side of the battlefield. Shepard did not betray his country. He rewrote history and hoped nobody would read the fine print. Nikita Dragovich. Nikita Dragovich is the villain who realized controlling minds is easier than fighting armies. He is the main antagonist of the original Black Ops and the leader of the Nova 6 program. Dragovich captures Alex Mason and turns him into a sleeper agent using numbers and brainwashing. His plan is simple. If soldiers can be controlled, wars can be won without battles. Dragovich is calm and cold. He believes people are tools that can be reprogrammed. He does not care who gets hurt as long as the system works. Even after his death, his damage continues through Mason's broken memories and delayed commands. One of the most persistent fan theories claims Dragovich actually survived his underwater strangulation, since he was the only primary target not killed by a definitive headshot. Because Mason was actively hallucinating during the kill, many believe the Soviet leader could have been recovered and revived by divers in the aftermath. Dragovich did not need loyalty. He just needed the right numbers. Viktor Reznov. Viktor Reznov is the villain who wins a war after he is already dead. He began as a Soviet soldier in World War II, fighting alongside Dmitry Petrenko. Reznov believes in loyalty, honor, and revenge against those who betray their own people. That belief is shattered when the Nova 6 gas is tested on his unit. Reznov survives, but everyone else does not. From that moment on, revenge becomes his purpose. Years later, Reznov is captured again during the Cold War and imprisoned with Alex Mason. Reznov is tortured, beaten, and eventually killed during an escape attempt. At least that is what really happens. What survives is not his body, but his will. Because Mason was already being brainwashed by Dragovich, Reznov became part of that programming. He lives inside Mason's mind as a voice, a guide, and a commander. Reznov uses Mason to finish what he could not. He directs Mason to kill Dragovich, Kravchenko, and Steiner. Mason believes Reznov is physically present the entire time. The player believes it too. Only later is it revealed that Reznov never escaped the prison. He was never there. Every conversation was memory, trauma, and programming combined into one voice. While Hudson insists Reznov died in Vorkuta,
Reznov's dead, Mason. Do you hear me?
A hidden string of coded messages and terminal emails from an alias named John Trent suggests the Russian hero survived into the 1960s. This theory remains the community's biggest point of contention, as it implies Reznov spent years in the shadows personally ensuring Mason finished their shared vendetta. Reznov may or may not have survived Vorkuta, but he always survived inside someone else's mind and finished the war. Jonathan Irons. Jonathan Irons is the villain who thinks governments are outdated. He is the CEO of Atlas Corporation and controls the most powerful private army on Earth. Irons believes nations are slow, divided, and stuck in old rules. To him, governments react too late and protect the wrong people. His solution is simple: replace them. Atlas will respond faster, hit harder, and decide who deserves protection. Irons creates disasters so Atlas can arrive as the hero. When cities fall apart and armies fail, Atlas steps in with clean gear, advanced weapons, and clear leadership. To Irons, this is not manipulation, it is proof. If the world depends on Atlas, then Atlas deserves control. That belief allows him to justify civilian deaths as unfortunate but necessary steps toward a better system. What makes Irons dangerous is that he truly believes he is right. He is calm, polite, and reasonable. He does not yell or threaten, he explains. That confidence makes his ideas sound logical, even when they lead to mass death. His power does not come from fear alone. It comes from money, technology, and the ability to act without oversight. Jonathan Irons was written to feel realistic instead of dramatic. Big props to Sledgehammer Games for perfectly casting Kevin Spacey in Advanced Warfare. The developers wanted players to briefly understand his logic before rejecting it. He represents the fear of private power growing larger than public authority. Irons didn't want power. He wanted a contract that never expired. Gabriel Rorke. Rorke is the villain who knows exactly how you fight. Before becoming an enemy, Rorke was the leader of the Ghosts, an elite special forces unit. He trained them, led them, and trusted them. During a mission, Rorke is captured by the Federation and brutally tortured. The Ghosts are forced to retreat, leaving him behind. To Rorke, that moment defines everything that follows. When Rorke returns, he's no longer a soldier. He is a weapon. The Federation reshapes him and sends him back to hunt the Ghosts using their own tactics. He predicts their movements, counters their strategies, and stays one step ahead. His war is not about winning territory, it is about punishment. Rorke believes the Ghosts abandoned him. That belief becomes his identity. Every mission he leads is meant to prove that loyalty is a lie. Killing Elias Walker in front of his sons is not just cruel, it is symbolic. Rorke wants the Ghosts to feel the same loss he felt. Rorke was perfectly designed as a fallen hero, not a cartoon villain. The developers wanted players to feel uncomfortable fighting someone who was once on the same side. He is what happens when trust breaks and nothing replaces it. Rorke didn't change sides, he just never forgave the first one. General Roman Barkov. General Roman Barkov is the villain who mistakes fear for control. In Modern Warfare Reboot, Barkov is a Russian general who occupies the country of Urzikstan. He uses chemical weapons, prisons, and mass punishment to keep people obedient. Barkov does not try to win hearts or minds. He believes terror works faster. His actions shape the entire conflict and are the reason Hadir Karim becomes a fighter in the first place. Barkov sees civilians as tools. If they suffer, resistance weakens. He destroys villages, locks families in camps, and treats war crimes like routine paperwork. He never apologizes and never hesitates. That makes him easy to hate and hard to forget. His death feels earned, not tragic. What makes Barkov important is how real he feels. He does not have a dramatic speech or complex plan. He represents brute force backed by authority. His power comes from rank and permission, not intelligence. That makes him dangerous because systems protect people like him until it is too late. Barkov was created after criticism that some villains felt too justified or sympathetic. The developers wanted someone players would never excuse. No gray area, no redemption arc. Barkov didn't think he was evil. He thought authority meant never being questioned. Khaled al-Assad. Khaled al-Assad is the villain who thinks he is in charge right up until history disagrees. In Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, al-Assad takes control of a Middle Eastern country through a violent coup. He executes leaders on live television and rules through fear. His most infamous act is detonating a nuclear weapon, killing thousands, including American soldiers. That moment changes Call of Duty forever. What al-Assad does not realize is that he is not the true mastermind. He is being supported and manipulated by Imran Zakhaev. Al-Assad believes he is shaping global politics, but he is actually absorbing the fallout meant for someone else. Once he outlives his usefulness, he is removed without hesitation. Al-Assad represents loud power without depth. He wants recognition and control immediately. That impatience makes him effective in the short term and disposable in the long term. His death does not end the conflict because he was never the root of it. Long-standing community theories suggest that Khaled al-Assad is merely a nom de guerre used to mask a deeper connection to the global intelligence community, a claim bolstered by al-Assad famously referring to Captain Price as an old friend during a monitored transmission.
Who is he?
An old friend.
This implies that before the 2011 coup, al-Assad may have operated as a high-level asset or former ally whose transition to a horseman was a personal betrayal that fueled Price's relentless obsession with hunting him down. Al-Assad thought he was the storm. Turns out he was just the warning. I may not be a world-ending villain like Menendez just yet, but you should probably subscribe now just to keep an eye on me. You know, for the sake of global security. So far, every villain still played by the rules of reality. COD Zombies doesn't. Edward Richtofen. Richtofen is what happens when a genius forgets what limits are. He is the central villain of the Zombies storyline and one of the most recognizable characters in the series. Edward Richtofen is a scientist who experiments with Element 115 and opens the door to the undead across time and space. His actions destroy worlds, break reality, and trap characters in endless cycles of death. What makes Richtofen unique is how he treats everything like a game. People are tools, worlds are experiments. Even when he tries to fix things later, it is hard to tell if he wants redemption or control under a new name. His impact is massive, affecting entire timelines rather than single battles. Treyarch created Richtofen with inspiration from classic mad scientists from old horror stories. His wild voice and strange humor were meant to contrast with the dark events happening around him. Fans loved him so much that he became the face of zombies. Richtofen laughs a lot for someone responsible for reality falling apart. The Shadowman. The Shadowman is not human, and that is the problem. He is an apothecon, a powerful being from outside normal reality in the Zombies storyline. He does not attack cities or command armies. He makes deals. The Shadowman whispers promises to people who think they are in control. Every deal comes with a cost that only appears later. His real goal is freedom and domination across dimensions. The Shadowman pretends to help. He guides players, gives information, and acts like an ally. In reality, he's using curiosity and pride to open doors that should stay closed. Once he is free, the damage spreads across realities instead of battlefields. From a creative angle, the Shadowman was inspired by Lovecraft-style horror. The writers avoided giving him a full backstory on purpose. He is scary because he cannot be fully understood. His calm voice and polite tone make his actions even more unsettling. He doesn't kick the door down. He waits for you to open it. Dr. Monty? Dr. Monty is the villain who smiles while controlling everything. In Zombies, Monty presents himself as a friendly, godlike figure trying to fix broken timelines, and he talks kindly and promises safety. What he actually wants is order. To Monty, free will is a problem. Cycles, resets, and sacrifices are acceptable as long as reality stays stable. Monty believes he knows better than everyone else. He does not see himself as evil. He sees himself as responsible. That belief allows him to manipulate events while acting cheerful and calm. His conflict with the Shadowman is not good versus evil, it is control versus freedom. Dr. Monty was written to trick players. The developers wanted someone who felt safe at first and unsettling later. His friendly tone hides how much power he really has. Monty didn't want worship. He wanted obedience with a smile. Samantha Maxis. Samantha Maxis is a villain created by fear and loneliness. As a child, Samantha is trapped in the ether after exposure to Element 115. She gains control over the undead, not because she wants to hurt people, but because her emotions shape reality. Her anger and sadness turn into endless hordes of zombies. Over time, Samantha changes. She goes from enemy to victim to uneasy ally. This makes her one of the most tragic characters in Zombies. She never chose power. Power was forced on her. Samantha represents the cost of reckless experiments. Her childlike voice was chosen on purpose to make everything feel more disturbing. She wasn't trying to punish the world, she was screaming, and the world listened. Dr. Ludvig Maxis. Dr. Maxis is the villain who confuses love with control. He is a brilliant scientist and Samantha's father. Everything he does is meant to protect her. Unfortunately, his experiments with Element 115 destroy worlds and timelines. Maxis believes his intentions excuse the damage. Even after death, Maxis continues to influence events through machines and artificial intelligence. His conflict with Richtofen turns the Zombies story into a battle of obsession rather than good and evil. The writers designed Maxis to be sympathetic but dangerous. He shows how good intentions can cause terrible results when paired with unlimited power. He didn't mean to break reality, he just refused to stop pulling the lever. Lev Kravchenko. Kravchenko is violence without excuses. He serves as Nikita Dragovich's main enforcer during the events of Black Ops. While Dragovich plans and manipulates, Kravchenko carries out the dirty work. He handles torture, executions, and Nova 6 testing without hesitation. Unlike other villains, Kravchenko does not hide behind ideology or long speeches. He enjoys causing pain. That makes him simple and terrifying. Kravchenko's role is important because he represents power without thought. He does not question orders. He does not care about outcomes. If Dragovich tells him to hurt someone, Kravchenko does it personally. His physical presence and brutality make him feel unstoppable. Even when he is injured or cornered, he keeps going. Fear does not slow him down. What makes Kravchenko stand out is his lack of regret. Years after Nova 6, he shows no guilt and no doubt. He treats suffering like a skill he mastered. This makes him different from villains who believe they are justified. Kravchenko does not justify anything. He simply acts. Lev Kravchenko was designed with no moral gray area on purpose. The developers wanted at least one villain players would hate instantly. No debate, no sympathy, just disgust. His death feels earned because the story never asks you to understand him. Kravchenko didn't believe in the cause, he believed in the act. Perseus. Perseus is the villain you can never clearly see. In Black Ops Cold War, Perseus is not a man you meet. He is an idea, a code name, and a threat that could be anyone. Intelligence agencies fear Perseus because no one knows his real identity. That uncertainty creates paranoia. Every ally could be an enemy. Every mission could already be compromised. Perseus works through misinformation, double agents, and false trails. He does not attack directly. He lets others fail on their own. Governments waste time hunting shadows while real damage happens quietly. This turns the war into a battle of trust rather than bullets. Soldiers fight, but information decides the outcome. What makes Perseus dangerous is how realistic he feels. During the Cold War, many real threats were invisible. Spies operated quietly. Enemies blended in. The writers wanted players to feel that same fear. Even the name Perseus comes from mythology, where the hero wins by striking from a place no one expects. Perseus never needs to show his face. His success depends on confusion. When plans collapse, no one knows who to blame. By the time the truth becomes clear, it no longer matters. Hades. Joseph Chikadze, also known as Hades, is the villain who makes another villain possible. He leads the KVA terrorist group in advanced warfare. Hades believes the world only listens when it is afraid. His attacks are loud, violent, and public. Cities burn, governments panic, and people demand protection. That reaction is exactly what creates space for Atlas Corporation to rise. Hades does not care about rebuilding or ruling. He wants attention. Every attack is meant to be seen. This makes him powerful in the short term, but unstable in the long term. His chaos convinces the world that traditional militaries are not enough. Atlas steps in with clean weapons and clear leadership, and suddenly Jonathan Irons looks like the answer. Hades believes violence is the only way to be heard. He has no patience for planning years ahead. That impatience limits him. Once Atlas becomes dominant, Hades is no longer needed. He becomes a problem instead of a tool. Canonically, Hades exists to show how one threat can create a worse one. The developers wanted players to see how fear can be sold. Without Hades, Irons never gets his opportunity. Hades didn't win the war. He sold the reason for it. Heinrich Metz. Metz is the villain who treats cruelty like office work. In Call of Duty World War II, Metz runs a Nazi labor camp. He manages prisoners, signs documents, and orders executions with no emotion. He does not scream or celebrate. He treats violence as routine. To him, suffering is just part of the process. Metz is disturbing because he feels normal. He does not appear insane or dramatic. He follows rules and procedures. This shows how systems of abuse survive. They do not need monsters. They need people willing to do their jobs without questioning them. His death does not feel like a victory. Nothing changes when he is gone. The camp would continue under someone else. That is the point. Metz is replaceable. The system is not. The writers made Metz intentionally plain. He has no unique traits or personal goals. His ordinariness is what makes him unsettling. He represents how evil can exist quietly behind paperwork and schedules. Metz wasn't trying to be evil. He was just doing his job. Herman Freisinger. Freisinger is the villain who prefers words over fists. As an SS interrogator in World War II, Freisinger believes information is more powerful than pain. He breaks prisoners through fear, patience, and manipulation. His calm tone makes people underestimate him. By the time they realize what is happening, they have already lost control. Freisinger studies people. He learns what they fear and what they care about, then he uses it. He rarely raises his voice. That restraint makes him more threatening than loud villains. Violence is always implied, never rushed. Devs based Freisinger on real interrogators who believed psychological pressure worked better than physical force. He represents a type of villain who damages people without leaving visible marks. His politeness is not kindness, it is strategy. Freisinger did not need to shout, he already knew the answer. Omar Sulaman. Omar Sulaman is the villain who never needed the spotlight to be dangerous. In Modern Warfare 2019, Sulaman is the leader of Al-Qatala and is known by his codename, the Wolf. He operates in secret, planning attacks, moving weapons, and directing violence without ever standing on the front lines. His power comes from coordination, not presence. Sulaman understands that modern war is about logistics, timing, and fear spreading faster than soldiers. The name the Wolf is important. Wolves hunt quietly, strike quickly, and disappear before anyone can react. That is exactly how Sulaman operates. He avoids attention, uses others to do the fighting, and only appears when necessary. His capture early in the campaign feels like a major victory, but it also shows how hard it is to stop damage that is already in motion. Even when he is caught, his network continues to function. Sulaman's role highlights how modern terrorist leaders rarely act alone or publicly. He relies on cells, funding routes, and digital communication. This makes him harder to track and easier to replace, which is what makes him so dangerous. Killing or capturing him does not end the threat because the structure survives. Omar Sulaman was written to reflect real-world figures who avoided attention and led from hiding. The codename The Wolf was chosen to make him feel predatory without being theatrical. The wolf didn't need to roar. By the time you heard him, the hunt was already over. Hadir Karim. Hadir Karim is the villain created by good intentions that went too far. He is the brother of Farah Karim and a key antagonist in Modern Warfare 2019. Like Farah, Hadir grows up under occupation and violence. He wants freedom for his people and an end to foreign control. Where Farah chooses discipline and limits, Hadir chooses speed and escalation. He believes the fight must be won at any cost. Hadir steals chemical weapons and uses them against enemy forces, believing this will end the conflict faster. In his mind, using banned weapons is justified because his enemies already use them. This choice is the line he crosses. What starts as resistance turns into something darker. Hadir becomes willing to sacrifice civilians, allies, and even his own people if it means hurting the enemy. Hadir's danger comes from logic, not rage. He explains his actions calmly and believes history will forgive him if he wins. That mindset makes him more unsettling than villains who act out of anger. He does not see himself as evil, he sees himself as necessary. Big Brother Hadir exists to challenge Farah's morality. The developers wanted to show how two people can experience the same trauma and choose opposite paths. Hadir is not a mastermind or a tyrant. He is a warning about what happens when cause becomes excuse. Hadir didn't betray the mission, he just decided the rules were optional. Valeria Garza. As another fan-favorite villain, Valeria Garza is the baddie who never needs to threaten you. In Modern Warfare 2, Valeria is revealed as El Sin Nombre, a leader within the Las Almas cartel. She moves easily between civilian life and criminal power, blending into society without raising suspicion. Valeria does not rely on constant violence to stay in control. She relies on reputation. Everyone around her already knows what happens if she gives an order, so she rarely has to repeat herself. Valeria's true strength is perception. She acts untouchable long before she proves it. She walks into rooms like she owns them, even when she technically does not. That confidence shapes how others behave around her. People hesitate, people obey. Fear works best when it feels normal, and Valeria understands that better than anyone. Loud cartel leaders burn out fast. Valeria lasts. Even when captured, Valeria never seems worried. She behaves like the situation is temporary because to her, it usually is. She trusts her influence to reach beyond prison walls. Her calm makes her more unsettling than villains who shout or threaten. She knows power is not about volume, it is about certainty. Her connection to Alejandro Vargas adds real weight to her role. It shows how deeply organized crime can sink into local authority. Valeria is not an outsider attacking the system. She is part of it. That makes removing her far more complicated than killing an enemy in the field. While Valeria Garza officially served in the Mexican Special Forces, some fans theorize her El Sin Nombre persona was actually inspired by a secret mentorship under a disgraced CIA handler during the Las Almas civil unrest. This dark partnership suggests that her tactical brilliance wasn't just learned in the military, but was refined by the very intelligence agencies now tasked with hunting her down. Valeria is the Heffa who didn't need to raise her voice. Everyone already knew who was in charge. Major Hassan Zyani. Major Hassan Zyani is the villain who turns anger into escalation. In Modern Warfare 2, Hassan is an Iranian officer who uses military resources to carry out revenge. After losing weapons and status, he chooses retaliation instead of restraint. His most dangerous move is stealing American missiles and redirecting them toward American cities. Hassan does not act randomly. He understands how global response works. Every step he takes is meant to force retaliation and increase tension. His motivation is personal, but his actions are strategic. That combination makes him unpredictable. Hassan was scripted to feel grounded and serious. He does not give long speeches. He acts quickly and quietly. This reflects modern conflicts where decisions happen behind closed doors. Hassan didn't want a war. He wanted someone else to feel the loss. Philip Graves. Philip Graves is the villain who treats loyalty like a receipt. When he first appears in Modern Warfare 2, Graves seems like an ally. He is confident, professional, and easy to trust. As the leader of Shadow Company, he presents himself as a contractor doing necessary work that governments cannot do openly. He jokes with Task Force 141, fights alongside them, and earns their respect. That makes his betrayal hit harder when it comes. Graves believes loyalty only exists as long as contracts do. When orders change, so does he. His decision to turn on Ghost, Soap, and Price is not emotional. It is business. He believes professionalism justifies everything. If the mission changes, then the people involved become expendable. That mindset allows him to switch sides without guilt. In Modern Warfare 3, Graves evolves further. He is no longer just following contracts. He becomes more independent, using Shadow Company's resources for his own positioning. This makes him more dangerous than ideological villains. He does not need a cause. He adapts to whatever benefits him most. Power, money, and influence matter more than allegiance. What makes Graves unsettling is how normal he feels. He is not cruel for fun. He is polite, confident, and calm. That realism reflects modern private military power operating without clear oversight. Shadow Company becomes less of a tool and more of a free-moving force because of him. Phil Graves was written to be likable on purpose. The developers wanted players to trust him before pulling the rug out. His charm is part of the weapon. Graves didn't stab anyone in the back. He just stopped pretending permission mattered. Emma Kagan. Emma Kagan is the villain who never needs a gun to control people. In Black Ops 7, Kagan works as a high-level intelligence leader who designs systems that watch, predict, and shape human behavior. She believes violence is outdated, information is faster, quieter, and harder to fight. By tracking patterns and choices, she stops threats before they even happen. Kagan sees people as data. If behavior can be predicted, it can be managed. This allows her to justify surveillance and control as safety. Her systems look legal and clean on the surface, which makes resistance seem unreasonable. By the time people realize they are trapped, the system already knows what they will do next. Kagan rarely appears in person. Her power comes from screens, reports, and approvals. This makes her more dangerous than loud villains. There is no clear moment to fight back. While describing her role as the calculating CEO of the guild, Kiernan Shipka noted that she loved playing a character who is constantly 5 steps ahead of everyone else, emphasizing Emma Kagan's intellectual dominance over the battlefield. This ruthless foresight explains why Kagan was able to weaponize legacy Cold War tech like the Cradle to manipulate global events, proving she's more than just a corporate executive. Kagan didn't silence anyone. She already knew what they were going to say. The Butcher. The Butcher is the villain who puts the player in the wrong chair. In Modern Warfare 2019, the Butcher is an information broker tied to terrorist activity. He is captured early and becomes the focus of a brutal interrogation scene. The mission forces the player to apply pressure directly, including threats against his family. There is no distance. You are responsible for what happens. The Butcher is not powerful because of weapons. He is powerful because of what he knows. He moves information, money, and access between dangerous people. His guilt is harder to judge because he does not pull the trigger himself. He enables others to do it. What makes the Butcher memorable is player choice. You can kill him or let him live after getting information. Either option feels wrong. That discomfort is the point. The mission is designed to show that modern warfare often breaks moral rules quietly. Behind the scenes, this character was written to explore ethical limits in interactive storytelling. The developers wanted players to feel complicit, not heroic. The Butcher didn't fire a shot, he just made sure someone else knew where to aim. Viktor Zakhaev. Viktor Zakhaev is what happens when a movement outlives its leader. He is the son of Imran Zakhaev and takes control of the ultranationalists after his father's death. Where his father plans slowly, Viktor moves fast and loud. He launches attacks, fires missiles, and pushes the world toward total war in Modern Warfare 3. Viktor does not build ideas. He inherits them and uses force to keep them alive. Zakhaev is driven by legacy. He believes finishing his father's work matters more than survival. This makes him reckless. He does not think about what comes after the war. He only cares about proving that his father was right. That urgency leads to massive destruction, but also to mistakes that eventually get him killed. From a story design point of view, Viktor Zakhaev was written to show how extremist movements often fall apart in the hands of successors. The developers wanted players to see that copying an idea without understanding it usually ends badly. Viktor is not smarter than his father. He is louder. Zakhaev doesn't plan for the future. He just presses the button and hopes history agrees. Raul Menendez. Menendez again? Because why not? We all love him. In the Black Ops 7 era, Raul Menendez is no longer alive in the normal sense. That does not matter. His ideas survive. His speeches, recordings, and beliefs are reused by new groups who never met him, but fully understand his message. Menendez becomes a symbol instead of a commander. He does not give orders anymore. People choose to follow him on their own. What makes this version of Menendez powerful is how modern the world has become. Information spreads faster than armies. Anger travels faster than bullets. Everything Menendez believed now fits perfectly into a digital age. His words are clipped, shared, and repeated by people who feel ignored or wronged. He does not need to be present. The damage continues without him. In Black Ops 7, newer villains reference Menendez like a blueprint. They borrow his logic, they repeat his arguments, some even use his face and voice to legitimize their own actions. This proves that Menendez was never just a villain. He was a narrative that could be reused again and again. When taking on the monumental task of voicing Raul Menendez for Black Ops 7, Jesse Cordy sought to honor the late Camar de los Reyes, stating he wanted to preserve the haunting conviction and genius that the original actor used to turn a villain into a messiah for the 99%. This tribute ensures that Menendez remains a powerful powerful ghost in the machine, allowing De Los Reyes' legendary legacy to live on through a digital specter that continues to manipulate the world from beyond the grave. Menendez did not come back from the dead. The world just never stopped agreeing with him. If you made it this far, you're Delta Force. Mission's not over.